There really is nothing worse than watching a form of entertainment that you love and enjoy be killed right in front of you. To see it strangled to death, murdered, without an ounce of sympathy. Whatever the medium might be, we've seen this scenario play itself out quite a few times over the years. From comic books to television and movies. And don't even get me fucking started on video games. I think this year's E3 paints a very bleak picture of the direction things are going.
How bad do I smell?
Unless you're into lesbians sniffing each other's farts, in which case, you fucking loved this year's E3. Nevertheless, it seems regardless of the type of entertainment, usually it gets co-opted. A group, a minority opinion, comes in and changes direction, rips it away from the thing that drew you into it, and casts it in an entirely new way. Now, that experience really does suck, but it's a passive one. Television and movies, comic books, and video games, these are something that you as a consumer purchase. It's a product and an end user. There is no collaboration. You're not a co-creator with it. So imagine how much worse it would be if that form of entertainment was something that you helped to build. If that was something that you were directly involved with. Not a product end user scenario. It's something that is directly fueled by user contributions. Well, that is exactly what's happening right now with the SCP. Now, SCP, for those of you unaware, is a collaborative writing effort. It's a wiki. It's a database of short stories describing entities and objects that are kept under control by a foundation. It's a fictional exercise where people contribute to it and help grow the lore, the mythos, and build up the world surrounding it. And it found its roots back on 4chan, on the export. Chances are, if you were to look at a few of these, you probably recognize them. Because like anything that gets popular, it eventually spreads out and draws in new people. And as that thing grows and that audience grows with it, new collaborative efforts take root. In the case of SCP, that would be video games, which only led to more of a spotlight put on it because once you get a video game about some niche subject, when the creepypasta thing is really in the full swing back in 2012, 2013, 2014, you're going to get all those LPers on there to do videos talking about it because that was the hot trending topic. And that really kickstarts a new influx of people that are interested in it. But with any mass immigration of new individuals, you're going to get people from different communities with different standards and insights that are just going to fuck it into the dirt. And these sorts of people, they're not going to use lube. We're talking balls deep, no mercy, violent gangbang. And the person getting fucked is 4chan, the originator of the idea. And their assailants are Tumblr and Reddit. Now, the winds of change, well, they were a-blowing back about 3 years. I think most people, though, just weren't paying attention. Now, on the SCP Wiki, aside from entering serious articles, you can enter joke articles. They're just meant to be something done for a laugh. You put a little J suffix on it, put it up, everybody has a chuckle. This isn't something that's canonical. It's not added into the main storyline, to the main lore. It's just a bit of fun. It's a little bit of fucking around. And that was the case with SCP-7143J, a slutty little doorknob. A doorknob so fucking sexually attractive that everybody wanted to get a piece. Now, if this article had been written back in 2008, in 2009, maybe even 2010, most people would have just laughed it off. But that was then, and this is now, or more precisely, this is 2015. And you can see these people starting to filter in, to infiltrate, to really throw out the absurdity of not finding things funny or taking offense at an obvious joke. And you can see that clearly by reading the comments on the discussion page talking about this joke entry. From Petrograd, edit. And why is this icky? There are 3 possibilities for this anomaly. Number 1, the doorknob is unnaturally attractive, and reams of Site 19 staff are already overt sexual harassers, which gross. 2, the doorknob compels people to sexually harass it, which super gross. 3, the doorknob is so attractive that it makes people harass it, which, hi there, victim blaming. Victim blaming a doorknob. From Sir Pudding, I guess we're going to have this conversation. My apologies in advance. The language used in the article treats the object as a sexual object, which I get. It's objectifying something that's already an object. Ha ha. But I feel it comes across in a very nudge, nudge, wink, wink, boys will be boys kind of way that seems to imply that it's appropriate to treat actual people who you are attracted to in this fashion. Yes, this is a joke about how people are attracted to people, which, if you're not aware, is still a thing that absolutely happens. People can be attracted to other people and still treat them with respect. They can be attracted to other people in the workplace and still be professional. They can certainly be attracted to people and not assume the person is obligated to anything in return, or accuse them of being a flirt or notoriously scandalous. Nobody is sexually harassing the doorknob. None of these would be appropriate to say about a person without their express consent, and wouldn't be appropriate to say in public at the workplace pretty much ever. That's not even getting into some of the comments in this thread. Anyway, that's why I downvoted. I understand that a large number of you don't agree with me. I don't think you're a bad person for liking it, or that the creator is a bad person for writing it, but I don't personally find it funny. And it does make me a little bit angry, but I'm pretty much angry all the time anyway, shocker. So don't think that's all that special. Also, do note that my sense of humor was shot off in the war. You need to stop sexually harassing that innocent doorknob. Don't victim blame it. It did not give affirmative consent. Think about them, because I think there's somebody you forgot to ask. From Sir Pudding again. I don't have a problem with fictional characters doing horrible things to other fictional characters. I have a problem with presenting this behavior as harmless amusement. This is amplified by having Clef be the hapless straight man trying to enforce a sexual harassment policy that is totally ineffective. So we have the her sexual harassment is funny, and sexual harassment policy is stupid. If you don't find either of these things to be amusing at all, then what is there here to laugh at? For me, nothing. Verdict? Downvote. Well, I think what Sir Pudding here is forgetting is that doorknob is a fucking slut. Just look at it. It's begging for it. Sir Pudding, it wants it. It's asking for it. So those reactions, the comments that were on the discussion page, were a red flag. A red flag being thrown up in the air, but nobody was there to see it. Nobody was there to notice that a little bit of a shift was going on. But I wonder if the administration, if the admins and the moderators, I wonder if they're of a similar mindset. Or I would wonder if they weren't so obviously blatant about what they're doing to this fucking wiki. A wiki, might I remind you, that's dedicated to writing short fiction. Because it seems, for the Pride Month, SCP wanted to show its support by putting up a nice pride flag, and then adamantly telling people, if you don't like it, fuck off, we want nothing to do with you. Now sadly, the SCP Foundation, they blocked me on Twitter for poking them a little bit, having a little bit of a laugh at them, and then they immediately protected their tweets. So I have to use archives of what they said, or screen caps that other people happen to catch, like this one, with a couple of furries, talking about how awesome it is that there are now SCPs that turn you into furries. But it's not the retweeting of furries that really got people's attention once they switched up the flag. It was the attitude that the staff had taken with any user or any browser of the website. Maybe having a different opinion or thinking that you should perhaps leave something like Pride Month out of a fictional fucking wiki. Been getting a lot of mentions from some of y'all mad about the SCP participating in Pride Month. While it's true that half our staff and a big chunk of our wiki writers are LGBTQ, it's not just that. The internet is not a kind place to LGBTQ people. The SCP Wiki came from 4chan initially. It came with Chan culture and its toxic baggage. Making the wiki inclusive was a project by our members that lasted years, but it was worth doing. It was worth making the wiki a positive creative space. It was worth purging members who stalked and harassed people. It was worth making, following, and implementing anti-harassment policies. It made our writing and editing better, our community freer. We've made our website free by purging wrongthink. 4chan may have created this, but they're toxic, so let's get rid of them. That's a real Reddit mindset. I wonder where that's come. Oh wait, the subreddit, of course. How could I have forgotten the fucking subreddit? 120,000 of them. And look at that fucking announcement. 4 Reddit gold for the based god DJ Cactus. Now this is an awfully long statement and it echoes a lot of what's already been said by their Twitter account, but I'm going to read you the last portion so you can remember how much freer the wiki is now. If you were offended that the SCP Foundation wiki community is celebrating Pride in June and are offended that you received downvotes when you express that sentiment, do understand that you will receive no sympathy from the moderator team. We are uninterested in your arguments. We are uninterested and the perceived political throat shoving you claim to experience. We cannot untwist your knickers for you, so either find a way to untwist them yourself, or fuck off for a month. Also, for a little bit of added fun and a bit of trivia, that doorknob article that people were freaking out about 3 years ago was written by DJ Cactus. Weird. But what were some of the comments they were getting from the community? What was the feedback? Thread locked for calling out forced gay agenda. I want immersion back, and this kind of refusal to communicate and locking a thread for calling out facts is extremely immature. Having a tranny SCP self-insert is one thing, as it's just a single person, but forcing gayness on others is just wrong. I just want a mature conversation about this like an adult. It's on topic. Locking stuff is very immature. And what was the reasonable response from administration? Tranny. Oh, look at that. Thread locked. Keep trying, buddy. An admin quoting a post above them. Lately, I've seen this community kind of fall down. First was the Homestuck Trans Self-Insert SCP, and now this. Yeah, the problem is the forcing of agendas in a horror community. Been here for a long time lurking, here and on 4chan, when the place started. By the way, no one cares if you were from 4chan. The old guard of writers on this site from 4chan love the pride thing. Is that right? The old guard of 4chan. The old guard of 4chan that you just tweeted about the same day, a day before this, telling everybody that you'd purge them, that they were toxic and hurting your inclusive community. That old guard, the old guard that you outright admitted you got rid of, stuff like the gay thing up top in the SCP-2721, which is a plain trans self-insert. That SCP is just the author's Tumblr post, are ruining the immersion of this site. No. Thread locked. Well, I know this may be a bit off tangent, but color me interested. I want to know about this tranny self-insert with a Tumblr blog that's into Homestuck. SCP-2721. Why, I don't know what they're talking about here. This looks like a regular SCP. Let's see here. It's a satellite that's orbiting Luna. Unknown objects, multiple unknown objects. Oh, and they identify as trans women. The alien satellites identify as trans women and are fans of Homestuck. And they run a Tumblr blog. The absolute fucking state of this wiki. Let me just pull a few golden quotes out of this. Let's take a look. It's a lot of blog to go through. Let's just take a look at a few entries to get an idea of what this SCP is all about. I try so fucking hard, but I'll never look the way I want to. The way I feel. The way I am. In a way that precedes all being. God, that does not even make sense. I'm starting to think it's okay, though, even if it doesn't. She's asked me to call her she. She, her pronouns. She tells me she of the language of the world we monitor. She enjoys it. She told me that she found something worthwhile. She is reading a comic. She says, This is fucking absurd. This is a Mary Sue self-insert, obviously. Obviously, that's what this is. An SCP that runs a Tumblr blog talking about transitioning and Homestuck. How fucking long until we reach this point? When are we going to reach this point where that's a header that needs to be included with everything else? When am I going to have to start calling SCP-173 Zur? I wonder how the article went over with the readers. Let's take a look at some of the comments. From Gillyman. I sexually identify as an alien death machine. Ever since I was a boy, I dreamed of orbiting the moon, dropping ontological breakdown on disgusting humans. And a response from the author of the article, do you think that was funny? And from the staff, Wrong John Silver, ETA, Gillyman, after staff discussion, consider this an official warning. Posting transphobic memes is completely inappropriate and will not be tolerated. It creates an adversarial environment for members of our community, which directly interferes with the purpose of the site. Please don't do it again. How dare you make a joke on this retarded fucking article about a death satellite wanting to be a trans woman that watches a shitty fucking cartoon? How dare you make a joke? Don't you understand the importance of this? And the author responds again. If you really think your trans-misogynistic drivel is somehow less transphobic than an SCP written by two trans women, you're an idiot. Oh hey, look, Reddit showed up. I don't remember why I ever didn't like this. You can see his transformation taking place in real time. From Mephisto, that's what you get from the Tumblr crowd flocking here. Could have been a nice idea, but got bogged down by unnecessary cool stuff. Again, the author responds, don't comment such stupid shit on my SCPs in the future. I'm starting to pick up a common theme with the reactions to anybody that has a little bit of pushback against ridiculous shit. Whether it's writing a goofy doorknob story and being told that that's victim blaming and sexually harassing and objectifying an object, or telling somebody that did a Mary Sue self-insert that their article is shit and making a joke about it. You start to get bombarded by people telling you that that's wrong and that you have no place making those kind of jokes. You get warned by staff. And the recent issue that's been going on with the pride flag really brings that to the forefront. I'm going to read you some comments to give you a better idea of what's going on at this wiki. And I want you to ask yourself, how could something that started off as a 4chan idea devolve into this? From Ghost Chibi, this site is an explicitly inclusive environment. Changing the emblem during Pride Month is an act of explicitly showing support, however small. People who don't support the idea behind Pride Month are not the kind of people who will be a positive influence on the site, and thus they can and most likely will have to leave if they can't keep homophobic and transphobic comments to themselves. From the author of the article about a death satellite becoming a trans woman, in response to another user's comment about thinking this might be a bad idea for the site. This is a lot of words, all to say you think that it's somehow more virtuous to be cowardly, to not take a side. And what is the other side? Not tolerating or accepting LGBT people? That sounds like the other side of ignorance. Moderate neutrality is worse than that ignorance. It's pure cowardice. The Great Hippo in response to another user. Because in the past, this community has promoted, supported, and even celebrated a culture that was toxic to the LGBT community, and people of color as well. The community has shed a lot of these toxic elements over the years and is now significantly more inclusive. Stuff like the logo helps clarify this both internally and externally. It's basically a way of saying we neither engage nor tolerate that awful shit anymore. Our favorite author once again. Because they're homophobes who think homophobia is a singular act of hatred rather than a set of beliefs and notions that affect everything they do. Prototype Toaster in response, even if they're against it for aesthetic or immersive reasons. Our author once again, man, if those two reasons ain't just a way of speaking around homophobia or racism, I don't know what is. From Prototype Toaster again, what, it's not like people who don't like it don't like minorities or LGBTQ plus people. They don't like a rainbow emblem on a dark red and black background, that's all. People not liking it as an aesthetic doesn't make them a bigot. Our author responds, sure sounds like a hell of a dog whistle to me. From Decibels, one of the admin. People who are against Pride Month due to displaying homophobic or transphobic views on this site are not welcome here. If a user expresses such views, we can ban them. Thus, Hippo's correct. And they even follow that up. They actually follow that up by saying that they leave their rules almost intentionally vague to give the moderating team an excuse to banhammer people they don't like. Just outright saying that. But I think of all the dumb shit these idiots have commented in regards to the Pride Month logo and just the direction of the website was when somebody brought up as a counterpoint to the pride flag being on the website, well, why is it just the pride flag? Why aren't you celebrating other cultural months? Where's our Black History Month? And the admin actually fucking respond. I would gladly switch out the logo for a fitting one for Black History Month every year. That's right.
That's right! That's right! That's right! That's right! That's right! That's right! That's right!
So just to summarize all of that, SCP and the Foundation and the creatures and the events, everything kind of related to it, was a idea that was birthed on the X-board on 4chan. People began to kind of flock around it and start to contribute. A wiki was made to put all the posts together. And over time, it went from a fun place to write creative fiction into a hug box for assert people that can't take a fucking joke, where any dissenting opinion gets you kicked off and banned, where the people that run the website will block you on social media for telling them they're acting like idiots. When you make a joke in a comment section about a poorly written article, and you're told that it's a transphobic meme, and you're put on warning for it. When you're part of the toxic culture that created the very fucking site these Tumblrettes and Redditors now infest, and are told to leave while they say they have an authority to stay, it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely fucking mind-blowing. I remember SCPs. I remember posts about them. It was a fun fucking thing. It was a cool thing to be able to look into if you were into that kind of genre of writing. But goddamned if they are not trying their hardest to fuck this into the dirt. To absolutely just destroy something that they really didn't build, that other people built, that other people came up with the idea for, and then to turn around and tell the originators of that idea that they can fuck off, that they're toxic and no longer welcome, all because people think the flag looks like shit, that it's a bad look on the website, or even going beyond the aesthetic reasons and saying that why are you infusing this into a wiki about creative fiction? How does that play into it? It makes no sense. And do the admins or mods listen to that? No, they double down. Because now it's not just going to be Pride Month. It's going to be Black History Month. I bet if you pressure them, like any SJW mindset, if you really fuck with them hard enough, you can get them to celebrate all kinds of crazy shit. That fucking logo is going to be swapped out more times than you can imagine. Just get creative with it. Think of a fucking holiday or a month of celebration and make these assholes acknowledge it. Just shit it up.